Okay, we are recording. We still have a lot of people joining us, but we'll just go ahead and get started. First of all, Beth and I are super, super excited for our guest host today. Rayne Anderson is going to be joining us. Beth and I have actually known Rayne, gosh, this must make 5 years now. Our kids all started that small school where y'all know Celeste Gwen, MCA, McKinney Christian Academy. So all of our kids were in kindergarten together. Rayne was actually the very first person I met at MCA. She was a room mom, a fellow room mom with me. And so she was just so sweet, so kind, took me in with open arms, not even knowing me. She has such a generous heart. I know Beth would say the same thing. I just love Rayne. We've become great friends. None of us, Beth and I, are on the same team, but Rayne is on a completely different team, and she's doing this for us. So that just goes to show you what an amazing person she is. We do life together outside of Plexus. It's great to do Plexus together, but like I said, we do life together. Our husbands do life together. So it's awesome. Let me go ahead. If y'all just joined on, if you could mute yourselves, please. Thank you. If it gets staticky, Rayne, when you're talking, just tell me and I'll mute everybody and you can unmute again.
Okay, no worries.
What we'll go ahead and do, we'd love to have Rayne share her story with us, a little bit of her background, and then you guys all submitted questions to Beth and myself, and we compiled them in a list for Rayne, and we will just get to it. So if you want to share your story with us, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining the call. This is a nice big group, especially for a Tuesday morning. And of course, Ariel and Beth, thank y'all so much for asking me to join your team and share a little bit about my Plexus journey, as well as maybe some tidbits that I have for your team. But my story actually started a little over about 3.5 years ago. And like Ariel said, I'm a mama at that small private school in McKinney, Texas. And I noticed several of my friends looking better, feeling better, managing their weight better. And, I just wanted in on it. I'm not one of those people that is a huge researcher. The validation that I had was that my friends were looking amazing. And so I actually asked Ariel what she was doing, and she told me that she was buying this pink drink from this girl in Colorado. And so that girl is Jen Hawkins, and I purchased the product from her for about 6 months. And you guys, when I say I didn't research, I did not research at all. I literally thought Plexus was a family business of the Hawkins family. I thought her grandfather made it in his basement. I literally did not know this was a network marketing business at all. But I was a happy customer for 6 months. I received, energy. I was sleeping better. I was managing my weight better, and I was happy. I didn't ask if there was a business opportunity, and it's a learning lesson there because Jen didn't tell me there was one either. But just by either raise your hand or shake your head yes, how many of you agree that life just happens? Right? Life just happens. And it happened to me in a very big way in the beginning part of 2013. It was a very sudden moment in life that I realized that I was going to have to raise my daughter Sadie on my own. And life got real quick. I was 40 years old. I don't have my college degree, and I've been a stay-at-home mama for all of Sadie's, at that time, 7 years. And actually I had stayed at home prior to her birth. So it was almost 8 years that I'd been at home, not working in the real world. Now, all that time, I still took leadership roles. As Ariel said, I was a room mama. I served at my church. Additionally, I served on the PTF board at the school. So, and Ariel and I did organizing teachers' lunches together. So, I still worked in a leadership capacity in my non-income producing life. But the reality was that I was going to have to get to work. So I did what I knew to do, and that was to start interviewing. That never settled well with me because my heart is to be a stay-at-home mom, and quite frankly, the routine, the day-to-day of taking Sadie to school all of a sudden became a luxury. Now, very fortunately, I was offered a position fairly immediately. For those of you that are local, when I say the position was located in downtown Dallas, and you hear me tell you that I live in McKinney, Texas, you all know that's an hour to an hour and a half drive on a good day. So the thought of making that drive every day, not being able to take Sadie to school, was just gut-wrenching to me. And ultimately, with much thought and prayer, I decided to not take that position. Now, a little bit of backstory on that is that position was a really good position, y'all. It was with the potential of making 6 figures a year. So this wasn't a position that I just turned down that was, you know, something that was barely going to keep the lights on in terms of income. This was me really taking a leap of faith, saying, I'm not taking the sure thing. I didn't know what I was going to do because at that point I still didn't realize that Plexus was a business opportunity. So I continued to interview. But during that process, I found myself on Facebook one evening after Sadie went to bed, and I did see Celeste post that what she was able to do with her first month's salary. And that post was something to the tune of, I was able to cover both of my kids' private school tuition, and I believe it was for a month. I don't know, Beth and Ariel, y'all can shake your head. It was something to that degree. But I knew what that meant. You know, financially, I knew what that meant because, of course, Sadie was at that same private school. And all of a sudden, the light went on that Plexus, these products that I had come to love, I could actually make money at. And so I called Celeste and I just explained to her my situation, and that did I really think that this was an opportunity that I could, you know, actually make money, that I could make this a career. And it's funny because, you know, Celeste had only been an ambassador for maybe a month, but because of her enthusiasm and her, again, validation in what she had already been able to do, I jumped on board, and I mean, it was both feet in, you know, deep end. I went all in with it. And so that was April 23rd of 2013. So just this past weekend, I celebrated my 3-year anniversary, just one day, probably hours before Ariel signed up. And, you know, it's been an amazing journey. Truly, within a year, I ranked to Diamond Ambassador, and that was with a lot of determination. I had said to my whole team of 2 people in the beginning that I was going to walk across stage in a year. Now, of course, I never make a statement without kind of putting a joke behind it. And I said, they may have a hook behind me and they'll be dragging me off stage. But I was very determined to take this business to the top within a year. And I didn't understand the compensation plan real well. I just knew, okay, what was the top? And then I backed into how to get there. And so almost a year to the date, I became a Diamond Ambassador with the company. I walked across stage at Dallas Convention of 2014 as a, you know, awesome as a Diamond Ambassador. That was my first convention experience. And additionally, that year, I was one of the top earners for the company. And with that, you get a suite. And that suite, you all, actually overlooked the company that offered me that 6-figure-a-year position. And that was really my full circle moment with Plexus. It was one of those aha moments that, you know, God absolutely had me in the palm of his hand through this whole journey. And I say, because the Rainey I know would have taken that sure thing, that position, that 8-to-5 job. My life would have looked a lot differently because of that. And I have always said that I feel like, and I don't know how many of you are mamas, but we are all children of somebody. And I'm sure at one point in your life or another, your mom or dad kind of had you by the back of the neck and said, no, we're going to walk this way. And I really feel like that's what God the Father had on me, his hand on my neck saying, no, Rainey, there's something better. Trust in it. And y'all, I'm so glad I did. I've heard Alec Clark say so many times, you just know when you should go for something, and that was his feeling with Plexus. And I so identify with that statement because I just knew that this would be an opportunity that would bless us way beyond anything that I could have asked for. I've now told my team, I have to come up with some bigger dreams because these initial ones, they have been fulfilled. So additionally, for those of you that know me or followed my journey, and those of you that don't, the reason why I had to raise Sadie on my own was because I was a single mama, and that means without a spouse. And so through my friendships with Plexus, I was introduced to my now spouse, Diamond Anderson, and we celebrated our 1-year anniversary in January. So I always tell people, for me, Plexus has been kind of a Cinderella story. It changed my health, it changed my finances, and in an indirect way, it also found me my soulmate. So that's my story in a nutshell. And I always appreciate the opportunity to tell it because it never gets old. It's a story that can easily be your story as well, because dreams absolutely come true with Plexus.
Awesome. I love her story, and I know Beth does too. It's just amazing. And so that's why I said we are so lucky to have her with us on this Zoom. And like I said, you guys sent us questions, and I've compiled the list. And so I'm going to read them off for Rainey, and she's going to answer them. And then if we have time at the end, or if you guys have a question, type it in the chat, and then Beth or myself will ask her when we're done with these if we have time. Okay? All right. The first one is, what do you send your new ambassadors? Emails, documents, and then piggybacking on this, what would be your top tip that you give new ambassadors as well?
So I absolutely am in communication with my ambassadors, and I do send them an email, and it is comprised of a checklist. This is what you need to do in the first 24 hours. This is what you need to do in the first 48 hours. And I'm happy to get that to you, Ariel, and for you to share that with your team. It would be too lengthy to go over in this call, but there are some bullet points what I would like to see my new ambassadors do. And based on what they come back with me is the investment that they have in the business, and it helps me know where and how to train them. The second part of that question was,
what would be your top tip for new ambassadors?
So my top tip, and you're probably going to hear this a lot through this call, is consistency and follow-up. Your business will be made in that as well as lost in that. And so I think those two go hand in hand, kind of like PB&J. You to be consistent, you have to follow up, and to have follow-up, you have to have consistency. So you'll hear me say that a lot. It's what I applied to my business, still do to this day. And I would say that absolutely is my top tip, and I can't give one without the other.
Okay, perfect. This was a lot of people actually asked us this question. I want to say we had about 3 or 4 people ask us, how do you build your team's culture?
I saw that question, and I at first was really stumped by that question because I don't know that I purposely built a culture, but what I will say, we celebrate every milestone in Plexus. And so with that culture, it has come through a team page, because I think the challenge for us as leaders, and any of us, and I say a leader, if you have one person that's on your team, by the way, you're a leader. So, but you have to build that through, communication, consistency, celebrating, even what I would say now sometimes we take for granted as not being a big deal. Like when someone makes their first post, we celebrate that. And so I would say we have a team culture of celebration and unity, and that is through the team page. I would like to think that locally I'm a gatherer of people, and so I do have consistent meetings for my team as well as Zoom calls. I think the way you build relationship is in time investment, and that you can apply that in your Plexus business as well as your personal life. Think about the people that you're closest with, whether that's in Plexus or whether that's in your personal life. And I would tell you that is based upon the time that you've invested in them. And you can also look at that on the flip side, the people that you're not closest with, friends, family, Plexus ambassadors, or people that you don't spend as much time with. So time, celebration, and being there, making that investment in people.
Great answer. Here's a really good one for you, and I know a lot of people struggle with this as well. How do you balance Plexus and your family life?
Have I done that yet? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the thing. You're going to be out of balance at times, and I think that's can be the misnomer in our business. There will be times that you are 90% Plexus and 10% family. but I will tell you that it is crucial for you to set aside consistent family time. You know, we rarely go without a weeknight or even a weekend night, y'all, without sitting down at the table together to eat. That is a consistent family time for us. We additionally carve out time on the weekends to just be together, whether that's, hey, someone pick a movie, we're going to watch it together. Because it is very easy for Plexus to take over. We talk about working it in the nooks and crannies of our life. Well, before you know it, you're not paying attention. And there's still days, y'all, that Sadie will talk to me and I'm like, huh, what? Hang on, I wasn't 100% with you. And so you've got to carve out time for your family, but also be very honest with your family and let them know, hey, this season, you know, these next 30 days, Mama's going to be on Zoom calls at night or 3 nights this week. And I try to let my family know, like, hey guys, this week I have 3 Zoom calls at night. But I also try to balance my week that, okay, if I've had a heavier Zoom call in the evening, but at least 2 of those nights are for them. And then the next week I back off of that and more nights are for them versus not. So it is like having many balls in the air, and I'm here to tell you it's not always easy. It is a challenge. But I think when you're open and honest with your family and you set the expectation, that is not as hard of a blow on them.
Awesome. Okay, here's one, and I don't know if you can narrow it down to just one. What is your favorite Plexus product and why?
Yeah, that was a hard one. So Ariel was super sweet to send me this list of questions beforehand. And I will tell you that I will always be faithful to Plexus Slim. I may have missed one day in the 3.5 years that I have been on the product. I don't like missing. That one day was not a good day. So I am very consistent with Plexus Slim. So I have to say that, you know, that one for sure. But I'm a super fan of the probiotic as well. So you know, I'm not going to narrow it down. I take most of our products, y'all. So that's a really difficult thing for me to answer. But if I had to strip away most of them, I guess I would just stick with the Slim and the probiotic. And the reason why is, as we know, we all know about gut health, so you don't need that lecture from me. I've learned so much about gut health, and so I believe in our probiotic for sure. And then I still just love the way Slim has made me feel. You know, at this time, I don't even know that it's a maintenance thing as much as it just makes me feel good. I genuinely like the way it tastes. So I don't know about you guys, but that's always been a challenge for me when somebody says they don't like the taste. That was probably one of my biggest challenges in the beginning. Was I had never heard that, because all of us at NCA, we loved it. You know, we were like, how can we drink? Can we drink 2 a day? Is that okay? So, you know, that was probably one of my first roadblocks. Was somebody came to me and like, I just can't stomach this. And I was like, what are you talking about? So those are probably my 2 products and why.
It does. It tastes so yummy. I feel the same way. How could anybody not love it?
Oh.
Okay. How do you handle ambassadors that want to see results before they post? I think everybody on here has probably come across that at least once.
You know, I think open communication. I mean, at the end of the day, y'all, people are going to do what they want to do. And you're just going to have some people that, for lack of a better word, are stubborn. They aren't going to post until they see results, and maybe they're not ready to come out of that comfort zone just yet. But I also am open and honest in regard and candor with my communication of, hey, you don't have to, because I think a lot of times we focus on the weight loss piece of it, or that's what people are hesitant. I haven't lost a lot of weight, so how could I post? Y'all, the benefits of Plexus Slim are way beyond the weight loss side of it. So I said, if you're sleeping better, you need to post that. If you no longer crave your, 3 p.m. Sonic happy hour, and amens out there, post that, because it's going to resonate with somebody. And whereas I get that maybe the hook could be the weight management piece of this, it is way beyond that. And so I really do just try to have an individual conversation with those people versus, blanketing them under an umbrella and speaking to a group. I may point somebody out and say, what are you waiting for? In fact, I have that situation going on right now with a new ambassador. Because I see so much potential in her. And she is somebody who has yet to experience major weight loss where she feels comfortable posting about her weight management. And so I've reached out to her, and she has reached back out and said, I think I haven't got my courage up yet about posting. And so we have a scheduled call to talk a little bit more about that, to figure out why that is and how can we help her get over that hurdle.
Okay. And then speaking of hurdles, when you first started, think back to 3 years ago, what was your biggest hurdle, you think, when you first started this business?
Well, I think some of the pushback, like I just mentioned about maybe I don't like the way it tastes, or so kind of working through people's challenges. And I found for me, what helped me combat that was just educating myself better on the products. So I really did set time aside to learn as much as I could about Plexus the company, as well as Plexus the products, because I felt like I would be able to better counsel my customers, because really when I started my business, I was very heavy customer based. Because for me, and I think this was one of the questions too, Ariel, it was very difficult for me to present the business side of it if people didn't know what we were selling or why we were so passionate. So I've always been a person that presents product first, always letting them know that there's an opportunity to make money with Plexus. But we've got, in my opinion, because our product is unique and it is one that you have to try before you can be passionate about it, I always encourage even people who are interested in joining the business, try this out at least for a week before you sign on as an ambassador, because I want you to be as passionate about this as I was when I started. And because we're not selling, for example, there's network marketing companies that sell energy. Well, energy is energy. So you don't have to really get the buy-in or the passion about energy, because, hey, we all need it. There might be a better way to go about buying it. Plexus is unique in the fact that we sell supplements, and they are going to react different, or each person's going to react differently to them. And so that is why I've always led with the products. But please do not misunderstand that. I do educate, again, that it's that communication, that there is a business opportunity here as well. The kind of cart before the horse.
Okay, and that was actually one of our questions that we were going to talk about, but I mean, you answered that. So we'll just kind of skip that one, because you just did a great job of answering that for us. And then when you first started, as many of us did, we used Facebook in the beginning. So a lot of people want to know, how did you reach out to people on Facebook?
So I utilize Facebook as a tool. And I think so many of you have heard, especially us, and I say us that joined, 3 years ago, say we use Facebook to build our business. Well, I now kind of back that train up and let people know I use that Facebook as a tool to build my business. And so I would post regularly. And I am not exaggerating if I tell you that I would post 10 times a day. Keep in mind, this was my full-time job. And it was my job to bring people in. And so I utilize that as an advertising tool. And I made my posts a variety, anything from health tips to actual product knowledge in regards to our Plexus product. I would do silly posts with Sadie and I, me holding the pink drink. We had fun, and still do, with the posts that we make. I try to make the posts ones that I would have wanted to see if somebody were advertising to me. And so I really put thought into what I was putting out there on Facebook. Additionally, I took about 2 weeks and I privately messaged every single contact that I had on Facebook, which was at the time approximately 1,100 people. I made each of those posts each of those messages very personal in regards to why I was contacting them about these products. That generated a lot of customers for me. In addition, if somebody liked my posts, I also followed up with them. So I hope I'm showing you how I utilize Facebook as a tool. It wasn't one of those Pied Pipers things. If I play music, if I post, they're just going to come out of the woodworks. I truly utilize Facebook as a tool to grow my business.
Okay, here's another good question. What do you tell your team that gets stuck at a level? Suddenly they gain 3 to 5 ambassadors, and then 3 to 5 old ones turn off that month. We all know the saying, 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
that's the challenge of this business. And so we spend a lot of time with one-on-one. What are you doing in your business? Why do you think this is happening? And I really refrain from helping them answer that question. They've got to find that. You as leaders have to find that answer. And I will tell you, that answer lies within your middle. Well, this business is not a difficult business. It requires a lot of consistency. And that's where the challenge comes in, I believe, in this business, is we've got to train our people correctly. We've got to teach the duplication process. And that means, and that is a challenge for a lot of us, that maybe if you're fortunate enough to sign on 3 to 5 people at one time, to train those 3 to 5 people at one time can be a bit of a handful, because you're juggling maybe 3 to 5 people that are in different locations, and each person may need different attention. So I really say it is a lot of hand-holding in the beginning with your new ambassadors. And then when people get stuck, we've got to figure out why, because there is a reason. You know, it's not because you're working your business consistently every day, following up with your, 5-3-1s. And I always say, how invested are you? You know, a lot of times we get frustrated with our team because our team just isn't doing anything. So then the question gets turned back around. What are you doing for your business? What are you doing to personally grow your business? Because I can show you how involved you are in your business is how involved your team is in theirs.
Okay. Here's another good one. Okay. What rank, if any, did you spend the most time stuck at, and why do you feel that happened? And what helped you get going again?
Okay, so that is a tough question, because my first leg went so quickly, y'all. So I don't know that I ever was stuck in that first year of Plexus. But interestingly enough, there were challenges after I turned diamond, and and we can blame it on a million things, but I love the post that Scott Pankey made recently that said, not a back office, not a product, reformulation. None of these things are going to stop me in my business. So yes, there are challenges along the way, maybe for those reasons, maybe because sometimes your team gets complacent, and so do you, and I'll point my finger at myself at that. I'd say my second leg has gone slower than I had anticipated it would, because, when your first leg goes so fast, your bar is set, and you think, that's just how this thing goes. So I'd say, in all honesty, that second leg from going from silver to gold is really difficult. I sat at silver to gold for over a year. It took me a full year to get to gold. And the reason why, I can point it back at myself, y'all, I wasn't as motivated in working that second leg. I was going through a lot of life changes, during that time. I was engaged, married, bought a new house, as well as my husband adopted my daughter. So, it was just, there was a lot going on. So excuses, right? I mean, I hear them clearly. It was my life. And luckily, I was in a position in life that I could take that time off and truly focus on the interruptions in my business. But there's no doubt in my mind the reason why it's gone slower is because I personally haven't focused as much on it. Now, I am more focused on it, and it is amazing that when you start to invest and you start working your business and you start getting customers, and how that leg just starts growing organically because you're working your business.
Absolutely. Okay, here's a fun one. What is your favorite self-development book?
So I love that question, because I'm currently involved in a book study right now that I'm leading with some people on my team. I'm in love with this book, y'all, so I'm going to show it to you. I didn't have it here on purpose. It just happens to be here because this was the last place I was reading. It's called Millionaire by Halftime, and it's by Presley Swaggerty. And Presley Swaggerty is a coach that is local to the he was a coach for Lakeview Centennial High School in Dallas, Texas, and he is an amazing, simple author, y'all. This book, if you haven't got it, I highly recommend it. To me, it's so refreshing because I don't care if you're in the beginning of your journey or you're 3+ years into it. This book speaks to network marketing so well. It helps develop leaders And it really breaks out the steps and what you need to do to become a successful network marketer. And the steps aren't hard, and the homework is doable. It's not too time consuming, but it really it's really cuts to the chase and is deep. So I highly, highly recommend that book.
That's a great book.
My favorite. And then he also has a second book out called What Does It Do? I don't know, somewhere around here. I can find it for y'all. But anyway, there's another book. Go on his website, because I think that's the only place right now that you can order it, or through iTunes.
Okay, good deal. All right, this is our last question that we have written down for Rainey. What is your favorite method of keeping up with follow-up?
Okay, so I am a paper hound. I have a calendar. Y'all, originally my follow-up was a spiral notebook, 99-cent job from Walgreens or something. And I'm pretty old school that way. I still am very much a person who likes paper. So I like checklists, I like boxes, I like to be able to check off the box, and that is the way I keep up with follow-up. So it's probably not the most efficient way, since we are in the 21st century, and we are, all about technology, and iPhones this and iPads that, and Zoom calls this. But honestly, I like the calendar. I like to see things in front of me, because I've always said, when my iPad goes down, I can't, then I'm down. But my calendar is just manual. It's just right there. So I keep lists. I'm a big list fan.
Awesome. Do you have a couple more minutes? We've had a couple people send us questions.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm sure you can see it. The first one is...
I was trying not to read, so maybe you can read them.
Okay. The first one is, do you ever still get discouraged when people say a big, fat, empathetic no when you reach out to them about Plexus?
Well, nobody likes to be told no, if we're being honest, right? So, but I don't think I get discouraged, because at this stage in the game, I've seen so many flat out no's. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to sell. Turn into big fat yeses. In fact, two of my strongest legs, Crede Irby and Heather Rice, were big fat no's, y'all. So I kind of look at it as a challenge, like, okay, you're a no for now. So, so I'd love to tell, I don't like being told no. So that's the honest part of it, but it does not discourage me.
Yeah, because you never know. You just never know.
It's no for now, and that's the thing, and I'm sure you all have heard this analogy, but it's like the waitress who asks you if you want coffee and you say no. She doesn't run off crying because you didn't want her coffee that day. Maybe one day you walk in and it's a little chilly outside and you want her coffee. And I think that's a great key in Plexus, is that she doesn't jump for joy when you want it either. She just remains consistent, and she just continues to ask you, would you like some coffee? And so I love that analogy in our business, because my team's motto, y'all, is, y'all know that movie Finding Nemo and that cute little fish Dory, and she just always said, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And so often on my team page, I just post a little picture of Dory, and my team knows what that means. And that's kind of my motto in life, because y'all, it's what I've adopted. Just keep swimming, and that's what we have to do in this business.
Yes. We've had several people ask, and we'll get that from her. Don't worry about what she does. Sends people in the first 24 hours. Beth and I will send that out to our teams. Just give us some time, and we'll get that sent out. And then let's see. Somebody else said, what do you say when people don't like the taste of swim?
Well, they have options. And so, for those of you that have been around, and maybe this is new to some of you, I have found if they squeeze a lime or a lemon in their slim, it cuts some of the sweetness. I have found that it's the sweetness factor. The stevia does have a distinct taste to it, and for some people, it is just too sweet. I have people that kind of make up their own concoction of a lemonade. Some people squeeze 4 or 5 lemons or limes in there to kind of make it more like a limeade, or cherry limeade, if you will, and that seems to help them. I have some customers that actually mix it in their yogurt, and it seems to work for them. I mean, the best way obviously is in a bottle of water, but if you need to cut it, then that's a good way. I even have one customer, and again, I don't know that I recommend this, but I can just tell you her tip. She mixes it in her black coffee. So, it's not one I've tried. I don't like black coffee, so that's not one that that to me would just, the combination sounds hideous, for lack of a better word. Sorry if on the recording of somebody that does that, that does like it. But, you do have options, but I do believe that the key to our products is the consistency piece of it. So find the way that works for you and go with it.
Hey, you know what's funny about that you said limeade? So Jen Weiland is on here, and she lives in Nebraska, and her husband and her own some Sonics, and last night they actually had a party. One of their Sonics has you can go in and sit down, and last night they had a opportunity meeting at Sonic where they made Plexus limeade.
See, there you go.
Maybe send us how you did that, Jen, if you don't mind. But yeah, so that, some people just have to think outside the box because some people don't like it. But anyways, I thought that was such a great idea.
That is such a great idea. And, my husband, he actually makes a lemonade for himself out of stevia. And so and I've watched him make it, but he gets a little bit of warm water and he just dissolves the stevia in the warm water and then squeezes like 4 or 5 lemons in there, and then he will just fill the rest of it up with cold water and put it on ice. And I've said, what if we mix Plexus Slim in there one time? So it's funny, Beth, that you just said that because
yeah, she'll have to tell us. They had their whole opportunity meeting there, and that was the whole thing. Come have Plexus limeades with us. What a great idea. Thinking outside the box for sure.
Absolutely. And we can do fun things with Plexus Slim. So, but just from if you can, I just always recommend taking it in your water.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, Jen, get us that recipe, please.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple more questions. Other than social media, what do you use to connect with people about Plexus? Examples, sip and sees, health fairs.
I have not done any of those. I'll be real honest with y'all. I have yet to do a sip and see. I have yet to participate in a health fair. What I have found for me that works is by joining different groups. I'm in a Bible study. I joined a yoga class. And I don't join on the first day and walk in my Plexus garb and my pink drink in my hand. I really do invest in relationships. And so, I kind of joked that I moved to Prosper to network more. So, I think the thing is that you have to cast your net and cast it wide. For some people, your comfort zone is a sip and see, and you find that building your business is best that way. For me, I like joining different groups because it busies me, but then it also gives me the opportunity to meet new people.
Perfect. Okay. Hold on. Somebody was talking about Colorado. Yes, we do have a team. There's a lot of people in Colorado, Pam. There should be easily to connect.
But it's not, there's still way room for growth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have several of them on this call right now from Colorado.
Yeah. Way better if you can see us.
Yeah. What do you do if you think that an ambassador is saying that she never got orders and wants refunds? I've never had that happen. So
I would refer them back to customer service. Is it that she never got her order and she was billed for it and she wants a refund? Well, that's definitely something we need to get corrected for her. So, I would call into customer service or work with, if your upline is a jewel, have them help you through that process, because that's not the Plexus way. I can guarantee you our corporate office, that is not the way we want to do business. So we need to help them get their refund or, some new product.
Perfect. Well, is anybody last chance? Any other questions? Rainey, thank you so much for answering those questions. And then, like I said, Beth and I will get her what she does with her new ambassadors in the first 24 hours, etc., and we'll get that to you guys. So,
I will send that to you right away.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rainey.
No rush.
Hey, y'all, thank y'all so much. Your questions were really thoughtful, you know, and made me think, and they stretched me as well. So I really appreciate the time that y'all took to get the questions in, and truly for allowing me to be a part of your team's call today. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, Rainey. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
You too.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Have a good day.
See you next week.